What is today's date?
14.
14.
13. 14.
Tango.
13th.
13th. October 13th. The crowds are going from Rehoboth Beach, where I'm going to take my class. So we talked about walking today, and we talked about how there's a slight incline, and walking is a bit of a fall, right? And so we kind of played with this and played around with it to feel the fall, and we made the fall smaller until we had that feeling of I'm falling and catching, because I'm a biped. My walk always has a bit of a fall and catch to it. And then we added the push or the drive, right? So then we added this different quality of I'm pushing through my back leg. I'm pushing to move myself forward. And then to smooth these two out, we added them together, and we had the fall and the push. And the third concept we used was this idea of a suspension. We had a suspension through the body that is really dependent upon your posture. So we just played with the head and saw how it affected it. But if you start to fall, you start that fall, that feeling of falling. If my posture is out, I just sort of crumple, right? But if my posture is light, and my body's like a tensegrity structure, or I don't know, it could be like a lot of things, but it's the suspended system, then my body has this feeling of suspension where I'm sinking down in order to rise up. And that's, once again, where the drive comes from. It's the fact that I'm sinking down. So this fall, the suspension, and this push are all the same concept from three different angles. We are 5 blind men with an elephant learning to walk. So we talked about that, and then we talked about how we're going to lead a leg extension for the fall. So first, we actually talked about how the rhythm is distinct because we have these different parts of the step. We have a drive, a swing. For her, there is an extension, and then another drive. And that we don't want to make it so they're all just drive, swing, because then I'm just pushing her on the floor. There's actually all this complex motion. We got into some of it. We simplified it to say that the forward impulse, the beginning of that fall, is what is going to lead her to extend her leg back. So we're actually increasing the pressure. It's not that we push in and push each other over. It's that I start to incline in, I start to fall in, and she starts to kind of fall in towards me. The pressure increases, and we extend the leg. There's also a slight rotation of the spine that's going to happen in order to counterbalance you, which we didn't talk about. So we extend that leg, and then we drive. And this is how you keep from stepping on her. It's also how your rhythm gets really complex and interesting. This is what the great dancers do. They separate all these parts instead of just moving each other around the floor. That like X factor that you can't figure out is how the body is swinging through the individual movements of the dance. So, anyways, all that talk. We just did the kind of classic move where he steps to the left, she steps to the right, and I'm going to add that little incline and a little rotation and ask her to extend her leg. So we practiced that a few times. Okay, how do I get her to extend the leg? And then I added the little musical, subtle back and forth, and we practiced that. The big key here, it's almost like she has a dinosaur tail. Like, that leg has to be heavy, but still connected to her body. So if it's loose, if it's totally loose, the movement won't translate, and there's all this wobbliness. If it's totally tight, or if she even is lifting it off the ground, go ahead and lift it, Anita. It's totally tense, it's not what we want either. It's a relaxed flow, it's a relaxed connection through the floor. What this does, because we're sending weight away from her center of gravity, it makes it harder to rotate. There's more inertia when we start rotating. Just like an ice skater, John's image, is going to come in to spin faster, go out to spin slower. This affects the movement when we extend that leg. So, extend the leg, and now she has this dinosaur tail or whatever out. We're adding this, and there's this certain heaviness to the movement now, if she's got good connection through her leg, good posture, right? So we've got this heaviness. So we practiced that a few times. And then I did a little cheat step. I'm kind of splitting my weight. I'm arcing around her. She's maintaining this right axis, not knocking into her either way, forward, back. I'm going around that right axis. and my feet are kind of arcing around her. Then I'm going to cheat. I'm going to bring my right foot closer, and I'm going to step around her, more of an arc, with the left foot to finish. Okay? So the trick here, well, yeah, I won't talk about that yet. So this whole move is about her right access. Okay. I got to speak louder because the mic is not good on my new Android S3. I'm going to buy a mic or something. Can you see? Oh, okay. This whole move is about her right axis, so I'm visualizing her right axis, and she should be too. If she starts to swing her left leg or swing her left hip because she sees that happening, she thinks that's what it's about, this move just feels weird. I'm not even looking at what she's doing, but it's not happening anymore, right? And now we're doing it. So it's about rotating the right axis and letting that left axis swing a little heavy behind it. Okay? We're starting to get the concepts now that we're building, and they're pretty complex. But so I'm going to ask her to extend the leg, add the little rhythm, cheat my foot, and step around her further to the left to finish with a forward jump. Okay? So I'm doing this with a bit more of what I consider to be a Rehoboth Tango aesthetic, meaning that I'm letting my frame flex, stretch, and bend. Okay? So when I get to the point where I step around her, notice that I am moving ahead of her, like in time. I'm actually getting there before she's moving, which means that our frame is compressing on this side and stretching on this side. If I'm relaxed and that's what's happening, there's going to be this thing that happens in our frame. And as that is resolving, it's almost going to pull her around like a rubber band. And I don't do it with my muscles. I do it just by staying relaxed, open, and moving. But I move both directions, actually. I'm moving before her, then she's catching up. Now the stretch is gone. I move before her, we're stretching the other way, she catches up. I move before her, we stretch, and it resolves. So you can see how there's this, the lead moves, and then the follow rotates behind. The lead moves, and the follow rotates behind. To do this, we have to have a relaxed, stretching frame. So we're going to use this concept to create a certain dynamic. So she already had the heavy leg, that inertia. I have added the stretch in the frame. So combined with the heaviness of the leg and the stretch in the frame, it creates this strong resolution, right? There's the heaviness of the leg and the stretch of the frame. They both spiral around. We won't go there. Okay, so following the spiral, there's a spiral in their body, it's following, but they both spiral around and resolve in neutral when she collects and she catches up with them. So stretch and resolve. And here we've all that tension we created just released. And here we're just totally, like, look at us, we're not even holding on each other. We're just, boom, we're solid. Okay? So that was our move. And then we started adding a forward boleo, which is led by the same concepts. We can lead a forward boleo linearly, which we've done in old classes. You can look back, but this is a rotational forward boleo, and we're using the same concepts. So, boom. Extend the leg. I'm going to cheat my foot. I'm going to get ahead of her. So we stretch, and then we resolve. Now, once we get to here, I'm going to move back the other direction. But I'm going to do the same notion of I'm going to move before her in time and create a bullwhip effect. Right? A boleo in Spanish is the whip. It's the whip for a reason. If I want to whip a bullwhip, I don't whip forward, wait. Oh yeah, I want that bullwhip to whip and pull back. Nothing's going to happen, right? It's just going to slide on the floor. Now if I go forward and back, one movement, transition, then we're going to get a huge crack at the end of our bullwhip. So that's how we lead the boleo. It's not by speeding up. It's not by doing one and then doing the other. No, it's the transition between one and the other. And how do we transition between one and the other? It's the stretch, like these orbiting rotational leads, and the relaxed tone stretch of our frame. So, boom, 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 boom. We got here. We extend the leg. I'm going to move ahead of her. The frame stretches. It resolves. Now I'm going to move behind her. The frame is going to again stretch and resolve. But I can't stop it like that. This is the bullwhip effect. So I'm going to go shoo shut. Shoo shut. And that is going to be her forward boleo. Transition. Transition. All the time respecting, seeing in my mind's eye her right axis. Transition. Transition. Now Anita can do a low forward boleo where the foot in a social floor, she's going to do it low, a crowded social floor, where the foot's just going to stay low. It could kick or it could even stay on the floor. It's still going to travel on the other side. Or she could do more of a show boleo, which is going to be the big kicks that you're seeing here. Whoom. Whoom. So I'm leading this by the stretch. I can't pivot her and then try to do it this way. That's like trying to whip the bullwhip with time in between, right? It's the transition forward to back, forward to back. And the frame is stretching. Watch her bodies. My body leads, literally leads in time hers. It moves before hers, she catches up. Moves before, catches up. So the frame, stretch, resolve, stretch, resolve, stretch, resolve, stretch, resolve. Yes. Yes. That was class today. Thank you.